Time stories. It's my favorite game. Look, they're on the wall right back there. I love these things. Everyone always has this complaint of, well, this one wasn't as good as Asylum. This one wasn't as good as Asylum. Asylum was the best. This one had a lot more combat. This one had this, this, and this. But I wish it was like Asylum. Right? Because the puzzle in Asylum, you know what I'm talking about. Real quick, I'm going to be talking spoilers at the end of this video, but not right now. I will tell you when. You know how time story videos go. You can't talk about much up front, and then you can talk full bore at the end. Let's talk on the surface. Lumen Fidei by Space Cowboys. So let's cut to the chase. This is my favorite scenario, period. That says a lot because Asylum was like way up here. Then Marcy Case was a little bit lower, Prophecy of Dragon somewhere here, the Egyptian one under the mask here, and then Expedition Endurance somewhere right here, but you still had, way up here. Lumen Fidei is right up there with Asylum for two reasons. It's very puzzly. It's got some great puzzles that you can't brute force your way through, and has some great combat mechanics. Plus it has some really cool morality mechanics that they add to the game. You have to check this one out. If you've written off time stories, which let's face it, you haven't. If you played any of the other ones, you've thought, man, I can't wait for the next one. This one takes everything you love about all of the scenarios thus far, including things from Prophecy of Dragons, including things from Under the Mask, including things from all these other places, and puts it into this beautiful package. Plus, overarching storyline. So in X-Files, right? In Lost, in all these episodic TV shows that have this overarching storyline, this is one of those ones where, sure, there's an episode of things going on, but in the background, there's a deep-rooted storyline of the mythos going on, and you get to find out. That's not a spoiler. It says it on the box, and it says it on the Board Game Geek thing. Should you get this one? Absolutely. This is my favorite one, hands down. The art is amazing. I'm going to have to look and put it down here exactly who did the art. This one looks like a good graphic novel. I know they all look like that, but this one looks like a really solid graphic novel. It's really, really good. It reminds me of Raphael Albuquerque from American Vampires. Not him, but it's that kind of style. It's real gritty, but it's also realistic at the same time. Really, really fun stuff. A little bit darker of a scenario. It's kind of dark, which seems to be, kind of the norm for time stories. It's not as dark as Asylum, but it's still got some dark elements, so obviously just know that going in. But you should play Lumen Fidei. It is the best scenario, in my opinion. So now, I'm going to give you a few seconds. If you want to come back for spoilers, go get some popcorns, go get some soda, whatever, come back for spoilers. Those of you who do not want to hear any spoilers, I'm going to do this. I'm going to count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I'm warning you. 4, 3. There will be spoilers. 2, 1. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. So this one has that morality mechanic, right? Because you're either a heretic or you're a Christian. And here's the deal. You know me, I'm a Christian, right? This one handles this concept in a really delicate way. You play some games like Assassin's Creed where you're like, history and all this stuff. It's like, well, what are we going to do with these crazy things that have happened in history, right? This one does it with kid gloves. It paints both sides as both good and bad. It's pretty interesting how it does that. But no one, I don't think anyone is going to walk away from this and feel offended, and that's an important thing I thought about the scenario. It handled a kind of a delicate time period with kid gloves. Let's talk, though. The old dude in the desert who directly references Expedition Endurance. Oh my gosh, that was crazy, right? 1914, 1419, did not see that coming. Maybe some of you did. And then the whole thing about you had a deja vu if you played Prophecy of Dragons. This is the first time stories where we're getting that feeling of, hey, you're being rewarded for continuing to play these games. It's so good for that reason. Now, there's a couple red herrings, and I think they do this on purpose, where, like in the Egypt one, Under the Mask, you needed someone who needed language, right? This one, you don't need it at all. We never encountered it. And I'm pretty sure we went to every single place in the game that I can think of. Maybe there was a couple of the city, town spaces in the race that you didn't need it, or not the race, but the chase scene, but I could not find anywhere you needed language skills, right? The boss battle at the end was great. Really well done boss battle. And then let's just talk about what they do. Depending on how you end the boss fight, the resolution, all that sort of stuff, you get to find out some backstory. How do they do this? With a QR code. If you decide to fight the boss, right, but you have the genie with you, you get to find out the science, what they're doing in this whole mythos. If you don't do any of that, if you have Michael, the Archangel, and you beat, oh gosh, what's his name? If you beat the bad guy, right? You don't find out any of it. You just get the time capsules, whatever they're called, people's story. So you get no QR code, you get no behind the scenes, you get no website. But if you choose to go with, and I only know this because we looked, right? So if you find this to be a spoiler within the spoiler section, I'm sorry. If you choose to go with the bad guy, you find out about the Eloi, or whatever they're called, which is pretty awesome because you find out all 3 stories. If you want to look, you want to cheat a little bit and find out all 3 stories, you can. You punch in the little code in the top right, and you can go all the way back to Asylum and get some Cyan backstory on what was happening there, or some Eloi backstory on what was happening there. They haven't released all of them yet, but they're eventually going to come. And you can see the backstory of what all these other sides were doing. That's brilliant. It's rewarding people for playing. So well done, Time Stories. Well done, Space Cowboys. You guys are knocking it out with these things. So we cannot wait for Estrella Drive this year. That's it. That's Time Stories Lumen Fidei. Another one in the books. This one raises that bar way back up there. So till next time, make sure to check out our videos here at The Latest Retro. There's a playlist that I have on my YouTube page that compiles all the Dice Tower feed videos that we've done. If you want to check that out, it's at The Latest Retro on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. And you can see the rest of the videos we've done here on the Dice Tower. Until next time, this is Bryan Drake, and I'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.